What do Bruno Mars, Robert Downey Jr., and Mick Jagger all have in common? Well, you may not want to believe it, but these celebrities were not always squeaky clean and good-natured. What if I told you that these very same guys with angelic-looking faces have committed some crimes or gotten involved in some shady things that you most certainly won't believe? These are the top celebrities who have had criminal convictions sealed, buried, or quietly swept under the Hollywood rug. And trust me, some of these names will absolutely throw you under the bus. We all know Tim Allen as the very much lovable Buzz Lightyear, right?
We should also ask this guy, though. I am Buzz Lightyear.
Well, before he went to infinity and beyond, he was once busted for smuggling cocaine through an airport. Let that sink in. It turns out that Tim Allen was arrested in 1978 at the Kalamazoo Battle Creek International Airport with over 650 grams of cocaine in his possession. He could have been sentenced to life in prison, but instead struck a deal and served a little over 2 years. After he came out of prison, he reinvented himself as a stand-up comedian, then a sitcom legend. And thanks to a sealed criminal record, most people don't even know the buzz behind the buzz. Up next is none other than America's sweetheart, or like Hollywood's original wild child, but hey, she's a new leaf now, so let's not judge the book by its former cover. Drew Barrymore may have starred in E.T. at age 7.
One of the most popular movies in the history of motion pictures, E.T., and one of its stars, Miss Drew Barrymore, who is with us this morning. Do you remember how you got the role in E.T.?
Well, they interviewed me for Poltergeist first, and she said she's not really like the girl who's in the part, in the script. So Kathy Kennedy, the producer of E.T., said, well, maybe she's right for E.T.
But by age 9, she was drinking. At 10, she was smoking pot. At 12, snow. By 13, she'd already been in rehab twice. Her family basically gave her full access to adult Hollywood life before she could spell sobriety. She later emancipated herself from her parents at the age of 14 and rebuilt her career from scratch. These days, she's hosting her own talk show, flashing that iconic smile, and living like she never smoked snow in a club bathroom at 13. Sealed record? Sounds about right. Up next is Bruno Mars. Now, I know what you're thinking. What did the so-called fly-as-me singer with the silky voice and smooth moves do this time? Back in 2010, Bruno Mars, aka Peter Hernandez, was caught with a bag of confidence, which basically stands for a bag of snow, in a Las Vegas bathroom.
Bruno Mars, the musician known for his work with B.O.B. and Flo Rida, as well as his own solo, Just the Way You Are, is not liking just where he's at right now, under arrest.
Check out this mugshot of Bruno Mars, all smiles, after he was busted in Las Vegas early Sunday morning for narcotics possession.
But after completing 200 hours of community service and staying out of trouble for a year, his record was wiped clean faster than a DJ's spin. Now he's stacking Grammys and dropping hit after hit, and very few people actually know or recall that he was once caught with snow. Insane, right? I know. Now for the very next person on the list. You all knew this one was coming. We all watched it unfold like a live-action TMZ opera. Lindsay Lohan went from Disney's Golden Girl to a full-blown tabloid tornado.
Lohan's sentence, 120 days in jail, plus almost 500 hours of community service. But Lindsay wasn't in custody long, only a few hours. Released on bail while her attorney appeals the ruling.
With DUIs, court appearances, and mugshots, there was almost nothing she wasn't subjected to. She was once sentenced to 90 days in jail, but served a whopping 14 days. Thank the good Lord for celebrity math. Her score sheet includes everything from theft to driving under the influence to violating probation on more counts than one. While her criminal record might still technically exist, much of it has been legally swept away or minimized over time. And now, she's back with a Netflix movie and baby number 1. Talk about a true comeback queen. Next up is none other than the king of hip-hop himself, Jay-Z.
You had an incident with Rivera, where you pled guilty to charges of, I don't remember exactly the charges, assault with a deadly weapon? Is it?
They would have never let me be
out
here with you if that was the case.
You stabbed him. Okay, all right. Do you feel like that was a mistake in hindsight?
I believe that was the greatest thing ever.
Before he was Beyoncé's husband and hip-hop royalty, Jay-Z was all about the street life. Jay has spoken openly in interviews and lyrics about dealing drugs and carrying weapons in his youth. In 1999, he even stabbed a record executive at a club. Insane, right? I know.
Top rap star is busted.
Jay-Z turned himself in tonight, and the cops started working on his rap sheet, accusing him of a stabbing at a trendy party.
He pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor charge and got 3 years probation. Surprisingly, he's gone from street hustler to billionaire mogul, all while reminding us that a loss ain't a loss, it's a lesson. Speaking of celebrities with shady pasts, let's talk about Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man didn't just save the Avengers, he saved himself. Robert Downey Jr. was once Hollywood's biggest liability. Between 1996 and 2001, he was arrested multiple times for drug possession, trespassing, and driving under the influence. The infamous story of him breaking into a neighbor's house and falling asleep in their bed? 100% true. He went to rehab. He went to jail and eventually got his criminal record sealed. Now he's a box office superhero and a living example of turning ashes into Oscar buzz. Up next is Martha Stewart, who gets a first class for baking a souffle, styling your guest bathroom, and also serving time in a federal penitentiary.
A local diner says it all. Welcome, Martha. Welcome to Alderson, West Virginia, the prison town that will be Martha Stewart's home for the next 5 months. But this is not a vacation. This is a sentence. Martha Stewart turning herself in tomorrow morning.
In 2004, Martha Stewart was convicted of conspiracy, obstruction of justice, and lying to federal investigators in an insider trading case. She spent 5 months behind bars in what some jokingly referred to as Camp Cupcake. But Martha is the queen of reinvention. She left prison, reinvented herself, and built a billion-dollar empire. Oh, and she also smoked with Snoop Dogg on national TV. Now that's what you call a Martha move. Next up is none other than Mark Wahlberg.
A woman who says she was hurt by Mark Wahlberg's delinquent days does not want him to be pardoned. Kristen Atwood says she was 9 years old on a class trip in Boston when Wahlberg and his friends attacked, throwing rocks and yelling racial slurs.
Before the Calvin Klein underwear and action blockbusters, Mark Wahlberg was a street thug with a violent streak. Just 16, he assaulted 2 Vietnamese men in separate racially motivated attacks. He was charged with assault and served 45 days in jail. Years later, Wahlberg requested a pardon for the crimes, though he later dropped the petition after receiving backlash from the general public. His record was eventually sealed, allowing him to go from Boston's bad boy to a Hollywood leading man and burger mogul. You can cover up a lot of mistakes, but that past still has a lot of people raising their eyebrows. Sex, drugs, and a drug bust. In 1967, Mick Jagger and fellow Rolling Stone Keith Richards were arrested in England after a drug raid at Richards' home.
Evidence that an unnamed naked woman was sitting on a sofa with a rug around her when police raided Keith Richards' house at West Wittering was given in court today. The defense objected to this evidence being admitted because the woman was not in front of the court to defend herself, but the chairman ruled that it was admissible, but he directed that the woman should not be named.
Jagger was sentenced to 3 months in prison, though the sentence was overturned on appeal. The bust caused national outrage, even sparking a newspaper editorial defending the rock stars. These days, the whole saga is mostly rock and roll folklore, with the legal stuff buried under decades of record sales and sold-out tours. Still, the Stones' shady past helped define the very image of rebellious rock. You're not going to believe who ended up at the top of this list. It's Doctor Who, Tom Baker, who played the 4th Doctor and remains one of the most iconic figures in British sci-fi history. He reportedly had a deeply troubled relationship with his wife's family, and at one point he allegedly attempted to get rid of his mother-in-law while using gardening tools. Who could have imagined? He later abandoned his wife and children altogether, fading out of the spotlight before making a comeback. So, there you have it, the top celebrities with shady pasts that have either been written off or straight up forgotten. Fame can do a lot of things: open doors, write checks, and in some cases, rewrite your history. Which one of these lists shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments section below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that notification bell for more incredible content on your favorite celebrities.